Thanks everyone again for joining today. Today, Fishbowl Solutions and our great partners at Oracle are going to be talking about enabling modern customer experience with Oracle Content Experience. Mentioning our great friends and partner at Oracle, I'd like to welcome April Thomas and Dave Ingram. April, hello and welcome.
Hi, thanks. Glad to be here.
And Dave as well.
Hi, thank you.
For the next 45 minutes, we are going to be very detailed into giving everyone an overview of Oracle Content Experience. Just to make sure everyone's aware, this product has been called a few different things in the past, including Oracle Content and Experience Cloud. Now it's known as Oracle Content Experience. So today, starting with April, she's going to give you an overview of Oracle Content Experience, including use cases and integrations. And then following April, Dave will give us a demo. So a few housekeeping notes for everyone. This webinar is being recorded. A link to the recording will be sent out within a couple days to everyone that registered. If you do have questions throughout the webinar, you can use the Zoom interface to ask them. Just go ahead and type your question in the little Q&A box. We'll see here that a question has been asked, and then we will try to get to questions at the end. So before we dive in and talk about Oracle Content Experience, just a quick overview on Fishbowl. Again, our goal at Fishbowl is to help customers solve their costly and frustrating knowledge sharing problems. We've standardized on content management, mobile applications, and really the cloud on the Oracle technology platform. So a lot of us know you for what we've done with Oracle Web Center Content and Portal, going all the way back to 1999, really helping customers optimize and extend their investments with those technologies. As we see the needs of customers change and their use cases for content management evolve, we also understand that we need to have other offerings. So Oracle Content Experience, in our opinion, provides that next generation content display and basically omni-channel content distribution system that we're very excited about. And we're currently working with some customers on taking their content management use case and involving Oracle Content Experience. I mentioned mobile apps and digital assistants, so we're also doing some work there. Very exciting things and a next generation conversational interface with digital assistants or chatbots, as well as mobile applications using the Oracle Mobile Cloud Platform. And we also do enterprise search, so you're producing a lot of content in your organization. We standardize on Mindbreeze and Spire as an on-premise search solution, as well as Google Cloud Search for search use cases on the cloud. That's Fishbowl. But why are we here today? So really, we want to be very specific in our intent today to really provide our Oracle Web Center customers with a good overview coming right from the source, right from product management at Oracle, on Oracle Content Experience. So April and Dave are going to discuss and demo use cases, some of the backstory of Oracle Content Experience, what the strategy is, and why they have this platform to satisfy a lot of the content management use cases that are out there, as well as you consider you're maintaining and you're leveraging Web Center content today. You have a good repository of information. How could Oracle Content Experience integrate with your current content and help you distribute that content out, or build a new site, for example, leveraging the content that already exists in your organization? So we'll see that in some slides that they're going to share, as well as at the end, as I mentioned, Dave is going to provide a demo. So with that, I'm going to turn it right over to April.
Thanks, Jason. Hi, everyone. I'm April Thomas, and I run the outbound product management for Content and Experience. And essentially what that means is I do a lot of the go-to-market information, our release information, sharing that with partners and customers alike, and also bringing about awareness to the product. So what I wanted to do today was just kind of give an overview summary of what Content and Experience Cloud is and how it got there, show you a couple of use cases, and I wanted to spend most of the time letting Dave actually show you the product. we here at OC really like to get into the product and show people and let it do its own talking. So with that, I wanted to kind of kick off with this next slide, talking about the history behind content management. You can go ahead and click through and fill it all out. So, the established channels that have historically been there for content management have really been the main driver behind a lot of painful interactions for customers. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing in these little hubs from web and chatbot, email, social, mobile, and they're doing a great job, but the problem is there's no fluidity between those channels. There's no continuity in the message, and when these things are felt broken internally, it also shows up essentially with the customer, and it creates these very broken experiences, whether it be a buying experience or an engagement experience. However that customer, internal or external, is interacting with your brand, by having these silos with all of that content, it really creates a lot of fragmentation in market. So the way that we look at it is really the shift from content management to a digital experience. Next slide. And you can click through. So we look at it from, from this transition of just a website to experience. So we're talking about browsers to omni-channel applications, from static content to very contextual interactions, from that back end driving the front end architecture to a true complete separation of those concerns, and then a siloed site and campaign to a fully integrated data-driven experience. And really the end goal here and how we view this in our core message now with content and experience is we want to be that single truth of content. Next slide. We want to be that hub for all of your content and every experience. And this allows you to drive those customer experiences, those positive digital experiences that maintain your brand recognition and create great service experiences for your customers. So kind of the next slide, go ahead, and how do we do that? So we really break it down now into 3 pieces. Assemble, govern, and transform. And the reason that I wanted to share how we break it down, our internal pillars, is because when we release information about the product, when we're updating every quarter, we send out information, this is how the product's changing and all the new features and functions. We talk about it in terms of these buckets. And so I think it's important to understand that as a customer. So from an assemble standpoint, this is really the bucket where we take, you can go back, sorry. Where we take those, and we're building that enterprise class site and those experiences. It's that open platform and how we host, manage, and deploy code across experiences with all of that cloud infrastructure support. That governance pillar is how we manage those access, those set policies, and provide those insights and experiences through dashboards, those IT controls, those kind of provisioning items, and then of course the auto scaling. And then that last pillar there is our transformation one, which this is where a lot of exciting things are happening, where we're talking about personalizing that content, utilizing profile attributes and data from all the channels, using AI and machine learning to tag, classify, flag, and curate those images with other content types, and also to gauge performance. So as OCE has been built out and we've gone from just this web center piece and into this cloud-based product, this is really how we break down and look at how we're solving that problem of that siloed content management. Next slide. So I put this in there because I really just wanted to kind of summarize how we solve that problem. And it's really through federating that content with an API-based integrated repository that's available through all applications and channels. So for you customers that are historically web center content, you're still able to utilize your content there and deploy it out through OCE. And really employ that enterprise-grade scalable site and experience, those templates, those tools, manage and govern that entire customer experience, all from one area. Use AI and ML to gain insights about current and past asset effectiveness, and then personalize that user-level messaging with easy-to-use journey mapping tools. So that's a very good summary slide of all the things that OCE can bring to a customer or prospect today. And if you look at it in the hierarchy or the terms of what we call a marketecture, next slide, you'll see this is kind of how we look at it. You have this content and experience here in the middle that's really driving that delivery and connecting all those pieces. So any content there on the bottom, whether it's from social, data, or content, including Web Center, Adobe, Box, all these other things, and then any experience there in the top. So you're able to collaborate, curate, author, manage, publish, and analyze all this through content and experience and really provide a true headless fashion for customers. Go ahead, you can go to the next slide. So now what I want to do is I just want to cover a couple of quick use cases on how we have already started to utilize the product, our customers have utilized it, and how we help customers craft those digital experiences. And then from here, after I go through all these use cases, then we'll jump into the demo. But we kind of like to break it out in a couple of ways, B2C and B2B experiences. So this B2C experience, these are a couple of customers that we have helped in driving these really great digital experiences. They have a lot of different Oracle Cloud products and really bringing in, utilizing content and experience as that glue that ties everything together so that they can really craft these individual experiences but have an easy way to manage it and control it. And so this allows all of that management to be done in one spot, whether it's blogs, articles, pages, videos, and then also to deliver it. So it creates a very easy way to really craft those B2C experiences that are always rapidly evolving. Next slide. On the B2B front, what we see a lot of is the customer and supplier experiences. So we have several customers listed out here, but you can kind of see that this, when we provide, OCE allows it to provide these customer-facing and supplier-facing portals where they're able to pull up those documents and really allow that collaboration between their customers or their partners, and then take that information back and process it as it needs to be done through whatever applications they're using. And again, the whole idea here is to create that headless experience where Oracle content and experience can provide that glue. Whatever the application is and whatever the process workflow that needs to be administered and governed, we're able to provide those kinds of services and workflow items. And then the next one is our employee portal. Next slide, sorry. And this is actually really exciting. So internally for Oracle, we have as an employee of Oracle, we have a My Oracle site. And historically, we had our expenses, our holiday calendar, all of our travel, all of these things were on different sites and in different areas. And what we did through, what Oracle has done through utilizing content experience has actually been able to pull all of these different systems and these applications into one portal. And so now you have a lot of different groups coming together for the same goal of servicing Oracle employees, and we're able to get all of our information in one simplified site. And that's a really great employee experience use case. We're starting to see a lot of companies really looking at that. How can they pull all of these applications that they use to assist their employees into one site and be able to manage it in a very controlled manner, but also have the flexibility to add in more applications as needed. And go ahead, next slide. And then these next three use cases are just some use cases that we've started to implement with customers and we've seen customers utilize and see the need for them. So enriching that chatbot experience. So you have a basic chatbot. If they're implementing a chatbot, how effective is it? Are there really good, rich interactions? Is it personalized? And with OCE, you can provide that structured content, rich digital assets that you're fulfilling. You're providing fulfilling interactions, and it's very efficient. So you're helping the customer get to the right answer. You're guiding them, helping them get to the right answer in the most efficient and clear manner possible. The second use case here is a really great story for especially those Web Center customers, quickly creating and easily managing purpose-oriented microsites. So you have a customer that is already on Web Center or any of the CX products, or they potentially might use WordPress, Wix, And, IT has to go through those updates. It becomes a hard thing to manage, and it's a continual item. So with OCE, we have a lot of integrations. We're already currently integrated with Responsive, and Eloqua and Commerce are just now coming out. And the flexibility that OCE provides through templates and the way that you can build sites and pull in all of that data from other places, you can essentially have microsites up in hours with OCE. So that's a really good use case for customers that already have maybe content stored in different places, or they already have existing infrastructure in place, and how you can provide these purpose-oriented microsites very, very quickly to enable your customers to do a lot of different things. And then our last little use case here is, creating that environment, a very friendly environment for enterprise experience to find those documents. So your customers and stakeholders, as far as from sales, legal, suppliers, this goes back especially to that B2B experience where we're talking about suppliers and customer portals. You often need a lot of time from the IT department, and things can, there's a lot of governance that is required around some of those items and workflows. And so how do you simplify that? Well, through Oracle Content and Experience, we have a connector framework. So we have a lot of integrations we're building out that are allowing you to pull in a lot of information from a lot of different places very quickly, so that you can easily search whatever item you need and have it quickly available. And so you have a nice workflow, a very clean, streamlined process for finding documents, accessing those documents, and collaborating on those documents. It essentially really allows for even internal and especially external experiences of your customers to be very personalized and have an intimate relationship with their documents management, whether instead of being very separated from it and having a very fragmented and frustrated experience. So those are a couple of the core use cases that we have, and it's just a very high level kind of overview of how we can drive those experience through content experience. We can create a hybrid experience for our customers that are on Web Center and using other applications as well. And now I'm going to pass it over to Dave Ingram, who's our product strategist. I'll let him do a little more introduction of himself, and he'll walk you through the product and allow you guys to see some of the great things that are happening in content and experience. Dave?
Yeah, so thank you both for the introduction. My name is Dave Ingram. I work for Oracle. I've been in the content management space for a long time, and I've seen a number of transitions. And what I'm going to show you today is the latest version of content and experience. And there's a number of things that the product does. So I'm going to try to give a pretty full overview, but do feel free to ask any questions in the chat as we go here, and we can dive a little bit deeper into specific areas. We should have a little bit of time left over when I get finished with the overview. So the core of this product is about managing content and assets. So if I jump over just straight into the interface and take a look at this assets panel, we have a lot of things that we're able to do here around managing content for a variety of purposes. And once you sort of understand this, I'm going to talk about how we manage it, and then I'm going to talk about what types of experiences you can build from this. But just to give you a good, solid understanding of what this does and what we're talking about here. So, one type of asset is images, and so you see a bunch of imagery here. Obviously, that's critical to today's experiences, as is video, as are in a lot of, especially B2B cases, documents. And on top of that, it's important that we're able to structure our content such that we can build websites, mobile applications, or anything else in very dynamic, personalized fashion. So when I use the term structured content, what I'm talking about is things like this. And to show sort of the simplest version of this one is a blog post. And if I click into what we have here, you'll see that I'm able to edit this existing piece of content, and we have some very straightforward things like name, description, title, body. And as we go here, there's more fields that I can fill out. This one's pretty simple, but I can reference an image out of my asset repository. So we can come in here. You see all those images that I saw earlier. I can filter and search down there. And we can also link other pieces of content. So author is a reference to, in this case, other content items that are authors. And I can do things like choose a layout. And all of this is very customizable. So as I'm building experiences in really whatever that means for my business, I can structure these, what we call content types, to be able to hold the types of content that I need it to hold. And of course, managing content is not just about having a form and a place where you can upload it, but it's about the workflow around the content. So when I click here, I'm able to see things like publishing, and I'm able to see approvals. You can see we have a draft, in review, rejected, approved, published statuses for all of this content. I'm able to translate the content. So here for this particular one, you see I have an English version and I have a German version of the same piece of content. We can configure rules around what types of content need to be translated to which languages, so that we can make sure that we're meeting all of the compliances and things that we need to do for different experiences that we're building. Of course, I can also organize and manage this content in various ways. So I can manage it based on the channel that it's destined for. I can manage it based on, of course, the language that it's been translated to, the collections that it's in, and the types of content and the approval statuses. Now, I can also, we talked about translation. I won't walk through that whole workflow right now, but there's a number of different ways that we can either do an individual translation or a bulk translation of our content. But I can also, you see here, targeted channels. I can, on this individual piece of content, select which channels do I want this piece of content to be published to. There's permissions around these, so different people will have the ability to publish to different channels. But I can start to manage some of the types of experiences that April was talking about, where I might have a chatbot experience and a website experience. I might have an augmented reality application, my .com site, and a mobile app. And I can be using that same piece of content with different formatting and different display and dynamic rules around it, but I can be using that across all of these different channels. And I think this is one of the largest trends that we've seen over the last, maybe 3 years, where there's so many different experiences that the software vendors and, most importantly, our customers are seeing the challenges of managing all of these different experiences and are trying to get away from managing each one in silos. And having this asset repository is really what allows us to build experiences that span all of those different channels. Now, the asset repository, like I said, is sort of the core of what types of experiences we can build. But there's more that we can do in getting to an asset that is ready to be published. And then there's a lot that we can do once these assets are ready and approved. So I want to take a look at the workflow and approval process leading up to having this asset. And one of the things that we've done, visual assets being such an important thing, is we've integrated with Adobe's Creative Cloud products. So here I am in Photoshop, but this works in a number of the other Adobe tools. And you see I have a panel here where I can actually pull up all of these different assets from my asset repository. You see tire retailer, that's where we've been working. And I can just grab these and I can drag them into this canvas. And this is just straight up Photoshop, so I won't spend a lot of time here, but maybe I want to add some kind of a gradient on top of this so that I can add some text in one of my experiences. So I want that to sort of, fade to black at the top, so I have a little bit of room to work there. Whatever the case may be, I'm not the designer here, and we won't spend any time there. But maybe I like it down here better. We sort of darken that road, and there we go. And then I can throw some text in there, however I want that, and then I can save that back into my asset repository. We could do that in a couple of ways. I can actually just drag it directly into there. But if I want more control and I maybe want to collaborate on this a little bit more, then one of the things that I can do is actually drop right into car, black, street. I can drop this right into a spot on my desktop, save this Photoshop document here. And when I jump back into content and experience, you'll notice this Documents tab. Now, this can be used for a number of different use cases, but you see here the same folders that I saw when I was exporting there, and that's because we actually have this desktop sync client for our tool that allows me to, across all of my different content and experience instances, I can sync folders on my desktop, not unlike a Google Drive or a Dropbox or a Box or any of those file sync tools. I can pull that right into my content and experience tool, and then I can manage these folders and files. And when I click into here, you see a number of them that I've already been working with. And sure enough, we already see this car Blackstreet PSD file that I opened up here. And I can now easily share this. So as soon as it got uploaded, I can share this directly here. And there's a number of different ways that I can do it, but the simplest one is to just grab a link that might have a view or a download permission to it, or even a contributor permission if I want somebody to be able to upload a new version. And I can just copy that link. So I copy that here, and now I can share this link with any of you or anybody in my company, or depending on how I've set up those permissions. But this one is actually a public link. So I could go in and share this directly with an agency or with a client that I'm working with, or whatever the case may be. And I can even come in here and comment on this. So if I open up my Conversations tab, I can just come in here and I can actually annotate this image here. And, you know, maybe I want to say, can we do this with a consumer vehicle? And, you know, maybe give my feedback there. And we can have this collaboration even on the source file. So on the PSD, I can work with it here. And, you know, once we sort of work that out, like, you know, maybe this is a little bit more what I was looking for, so we can drop that in there. Not exactly a commercial car, but hey, maybe that's more what I'm looking for. So, you know, we can come and we can save that out. And now I have something that's, you know, maybe a little bit more relatable to me. And when I save it and give it just a second to sync here, but generally comes in pretty quick. There we go. We've actually got version 2, and all I did was just saved out that file, and I can actually go back and see the history and manage all of that here. And once we're happy with this, you know, I can ask my designer, in this case, you know, if we want to do some special exporting, then we could go ahead and export it to a JPEG and do all of the work there. And once I have a JPEG, I'll skip that step for now, but once I have a JPEG, I can come in here and do a variety of different things, but I can actually just push this directly into that asset repository where I can start using it inside of experiences. If we took a look at this one, for example, here's one that I've already got exported as a PNG file. And so that would be something that I could just come in here and say, add to my asset repository. And now this is ready to be used in any type of experience that I want to work in. So that gives me a pretty wide variety of functionality in working with both the raw source files, collaborating with my team on getting to the finished product, and then getting it all organized in collections and ready to be published to different channels in this asset repository. And then the final piece of the equation that I want to talk about here is what types of experiences can be built with this. Now, in a traditional content management system, the primary focus is going to be about building websites. And as much as we might want to talk about a future with no websites, it's of course still a very important piece of all of our businesses. And it's an important piece of content and experience as well. So I do have the ability to build and manage sites directly inside of the tool. But this isn't the only way that I can use these assets. And I'll kind of step through a little bit of this in just a moment. But I want to sort of talk about some of the other things maybe first, because we really think that's so important. And to do that quickly, since we don't have a lot of time left, I'm just going to show a couple of quick little video clips of some of the types of experiences we're building with content and experience. One of those is this application that we've built here, where a tire retailer can take a mobile device, point it at a magazine, and interact with 3D content in an augmented reality application. Now, everything that you're seeing here, the 3D model, the thumbnails at the bottom, the different text that's showing up as we tab through the different pieces, and even the purchase-related information, that's all stored in content and experience as what we call a content item. That's the piece that was driving the blog post, and how I said that can be used for all types of experiences. That's one example of the type of experience that can be built there. And then we can use the publishing channels and also the APIs to then build out these types of applications. We can do similar things with chatbot integrations. So here you might see, for example, this is pulling in content from content and experience from Slack. So that's a chatbot integration that you can see there. We have other ones, so Facebook style chatbots that you might look at here as well. Similar things where we can interact with these structured content items and be able to build out a variety of different experiences using the APIs. Now, another type of experience is, of course, all of your marketing automation tools. So one thing that I can talk to you about is how we use content and experience inside of other Oracle Cloud tools. So here we're looking at responses for email marketing. We have another email marketing tool, which is Eloqua, more for B2B. We have this same integration there, but when I'm in this email editor, we can come in here and we can actually click on this image, and you see I have a content and experience integration directly here, and I can pull up that same asset repository from this interface. So let's say I want to swap out that image for a San Francisco image. I just click here, and then that's going to swap this out in my email. So I can work with those approved assets across a variety of different tools and be able to build out my marketing campaigns there. We're doing similar things across a number of different Oracle Cloud products. That's a major piece of our roadmap. But today we're basically doing that in Commerce Cloud, in Responses, and Eloqua, and also working towards things like our Service Cloud product to be able to reuse content items there, various other products across the Customer Experience Cloud. So I talked about a lot of different experiences that aren't web. Let's spend a little bit more time digging into the web. So here are all the different websites that I'm managing inside of this content experience instance. And if I click into one of those and open it up, I get to this experience here where I'm able to build out an actual full-blown website. So here I have my navigation that I'm working on, so I can go between different tabs, different pages, and I can manage the navigation structure. And then within pages, I have this WYSIWYG editor where I can, edit text, edit titles, swap out images, and build really quite dynamic experience as well with a drag and drop interface by coming in here, and you see I can build out different layouts. So if I wanted some kind of a slider in here, we can do that here. And start adding slides here. We can access directly those structured content items, and we can filter that here to all collections so I can see a little bit more. And we can bring in individual assets here, and then we can also use what we call components, where we have a wide variety of pieces of functionality basically that we can build in, whether that's a list of content, social widgets, document management, processes through Process Cloud, just another one of our cloud products. There's a wide variety of things that we're able to do here using those components. And it's actually very extensible, so we can do a lot more by having a developer come in and build out custom components that allow kind of the sky is the limit functionality by writing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to create these functional components that you can use to build out these sites. Now, the last thing I want to talk about on websites, and we could spend easily a full hour diving into all of the capabilities and functionality in this site builder, but I want to come back over to this asset repository and talk about a very big trend in web development over the past couple of years, which is building what are variously called headless or decoupled experiences or single page applications. Just to throw out a couple of frameworks, these are often built with something like React or Angular or Vue, or kind of the three big ones, maybe Ember. There's various other ones that you could use as well. But these take the approach of basically allowing the developer to write in very specialized JavaScript frameworks and create very dynamic experiences, and then assemble experiences on the fly with dynamic content. And when we were talking about our APIs, we've spent a lot of kind of time and thought on how to build this asset repository such that it works well for those experiences. And I'm not going to dive too deeply into that unless somebody asks me to in the Q&A, because that starts to get us into code, and not everybody enjoys going to that level. But if you do, please ask questions, and I'm happy to talk more about what we're doing there to make that easier to do. But from a roadmap standpoint and a vision and strategy standpoint for the product, we very much recognize that our site builder will not be for everybody. And in some situations, you'll be using something like a React. And we fit very well into that world as well from a site building perspective. We also, just to kind of top off that combined website thought, we're one of the few vendors on the market that allow the ability to do both. So we consider this piece of it a content as a service or content as a service API to be able to build those experiences, but we also have this built-in site builder. So one interesting way to think about this is if you're managing many sites, you might want to build some of your smaller marketing campaign sites, microsites or internal sites in this sort of business user-friendly visual way. And you might leave some of your more consumer-facing experiences where you really want to optimize every aspect of that, give your developers full control. Then you might come over here and say, well, we're going to manage all of our assets here, but we're going to build that experience in a React or a Vue or an Angular. So really flexible in how you think about building out all of the experiences that are important to your business. That's really the summary of what we can do with this product. So it's about managing these assets. It's about the workflow leading up to having this curated asset repository for building your experiences. And then it's about the experiences that you can build, whether it's headless website or a custom application or applications across the Oracle Cloud. We really believe that this can be the central repository for the content and assets that are required for those experiences that you want to build. Various different places that we can go from here. So if you do have specific questions, please feel free to push that into the chat. We could talk about various other integrations that I didn't have a chance to get to. We could talk about what we're doing in analytics. We could talk about where we're headed around personalization and other integrations. We could talk about some smart content capabilities that we're building out. There's really quite a lot that we could go to from here. So I'll leave it up to the audience to ask questions from here on out.
All right, Dave, thanks. That was great. Great demo showing various use cases, and you covered a lot there, so I'll try to summarize. But on the Fishbowl side, we do have a few questions. So Dave, if you could stop sharing, I'm just going to jump back over. I do have a slide up that has pictures of you two, you and April, and your email addresses. There we go. So Dave, we did have a couple questions for you on the Fishbowl side. So first of all, what you showed us, is that the most current release of
It is.
OC?
Yes, this is
Great.
as of a week ago. So if you caught some new shiny things like the new homepage, for example, That was just released right at, actually not even a week ago. That hit my instance, I think, Friday.
And so if you had an existing instance, those instances are all automatically upgraded?
Yeah.
Or do you have to re-provision?
No, it's one of the beauties of being in our cloud product is that we're able to manage all of the updates. They're generally all zero downtime and should come right away. There are a few sort of edge exceptions if you've had your instance for a while and happen to be on an older infrastructure, which we do have some customers who are. So if you're not seeing the new shiny stuff that I was seeing in the next couple of days, then let's hop on a call and figure out how we get you to the very latest.
Yeah, and just a note on that, to kind of elaborate, what's really nice about content experience is we do a continuous deployment. So we're always releasing, and in product on that homepage, we have a summary of whatever is new, and we walk you through it. And then on my side, we release that information. We just kind of wrap it up on a quarterly basis and kind of summarize it for everybody. But it's nice because as it's coming out fresh, you get it in the product, and you're also able to see the documentation and the help around it within the product as well.
Okay, and Dave, we had another question. So specifically on the Web Center content and Web Center portal integrations, for those customers, that have those solutions, obviously the majority of our customers, can you talk a little bit about the integrations there?
Absolutely. So there's multiple sides to that, and let me preface that discussion with saying that the Web Center products also fall under our team. And we have no intention of sunsetting them, anytime in the near or distant future. And we very much continue to support and update those products as well. Now that said, a lot of the newer development is going into Oracle Content and Experience. So a lot of our focus is on bringing our Web Center customers new functionality, even while they continue to leverage existing investment, and that can be done in a number of ways. So from a Web Center content perspective, we have the ability to integrate really both directions. So one thing that has actually existed for a while now, maybe a year, even back to one of the earlier releases of Content Experience, is the ability to access the asset repository from the cloud inside of Web Center content. It takes a bit of config to get you there, but that allows you to use the cloud workflow that I was showing, and then still be able to use those assets inside of Web Center products. That becomes increasingly more interesting as our roadmap goes along. And I didn't show some of the pieces around what we're calling smart content, but we have features coming around automatic asset tagging and smart content authoring environment where we can actually discover related content as you type and help you pull in relevant images and things like that. So, being able to use that type of functionality while continuing to leverage Web Center sites investments is a big thing. From a portal perspective, there's different integrations we can talk about. So Portal is built on top of Web Center content from an asset repository. So everything that I said applies there. But there's also, as you're building out, these functional portals, then obviously there's a lot of customization that goes into that. And that site builder that I was showing, it has similar portal-like functionality in that the components that I mentioned, you can actually pull in other interfaces as well. And one of the things that one can do is pull in a Web Center portal interface. There's ways of doing that. So you might have a microsite, employee portal type thing that you build in Content and Experience, where you can actually leverage the development that's been done in Web Center portal. Our Content and Experience interface can also be embedded in other interfaces. So there's a configuration where you can control some of the what the interface does when it's embedded elsewhere. So you can actually go the other direction as well. So we're not thinking of this content and experience product as this end all be all. And, you know, if you sort of read between the lines in our messaging, really a major focus of ours is integration. So that also includes the Web Center pieces. Now, the final thing that's on our roadmap, and I actually saw this functioning the other day in an engineering sprint review, is the ability to pull Web Center content, WCC content, into content experience through a little dialogue. So when you're in your asset repository, you can click add, you can say add from Web Center content, and you can explore your on-prem asset repository and pull things into the cloud. And there's ways of doing that in bulk as well via API, but that's an interface to sort of allow you to go that direction as well. So your mileage may vary on exactly how you want to go about building out those integrations and using the 2 or 3 products together. But it's definitely something that we are looking to customers to do and encourage and expect as people transition, partially or fully over time into the cloud product.
Awesome. Great stuff. Both of you, really appreciate giving the overview and demo. Great product. Thank you for covering all the various use cases, showing some of those examples, putting together the AR, that AR augmented reality demo. I mean, really helps people kind of get the wheels turning on the capabilities that are possible here, either with AR, as I mentioned, digital assistants, building a website, and then thanks for answering those questions on the Web Center side, as we really think about the integrations possible with their content management strategy and roadmap, how they could leverage this product. So thanks again, everyone. And so with that, there are no other questions, so we're going to be signing off and concluding today's webinar. I want to thank everyone for attending. More information about Fishbowl's consulting services and solutions around Oracle content and experience can be found on our website and through social media as well. With that, again, I'm Jason Lehman, Fishbowl Solutions, signing off. Thanks again for attending today.